There are periods in every musician's journey when everything just clicks. We're having fun, inspiration is flowing, and tracks are getting recorded one by one. But there's also a dark side to that state, what's often called a creative block. So how do we overcome periods of stagnation and musical drought to get back into the groove? My answer to that question on more than one occasion has been books. Now, hold on, hear me out. As counterintuitive as it may sound, if you're looking to improve your music production skills, the answer might not be in the studio, but on the written page. I've devoured countless books on this quest, and today I'm revealing my top 5 books that help get my music through stagnant pools of muck. Are you ready to turn the page to your next production breakthrough? The first book on this list is great for beginner and intermediate musicians looking to hone their musical theory skills. The first time I read this book was a little over 10 years ago, back when I knew very little about music theory and music production, other than what I could figure out buzzing through Fruity Loops like a headless fly. If the words music theory strike fear into your soul, then this is just the book that's going to help you get through this most uncomfortable phase of being a musician. Concepts like waveforms, pitch, intervals, harmony, scales, and rhythm are explained in ways that almost anyone can understand. The book I'm talking about is Music Theory for Computer Musicians by Michael Hewitt. And the only reason it's specifically targeted to computer musicians is because a lot of the examples in the book are made using tools that you'll find in a DAW, such as the piano roll. But other than that, all the information in the book is perfectly applicable to anyone looking to create modern music, with various concepts presented in easily digestible illustrations. We're moving on to the second book on this list, and we're already going to talk about mixing. Yes, mixing. A skill that many professionals, even having spent decades in the music industry, continue to improve on a daily basis. But hey, we all gotta start somewhere, and The Art of Mixing by David Gibson is a good place as any. While most other books that talk about mixing go really deep into the tools and techniques, this one is focused on setting down the key fundamentals behind producing great mixes, now and in the future. Regardless of how technology changes, what new tools may come up, what you learn in this book is gonna stick with you for as long as you're gonna be mixing. If you're just starting to get into music mixing, I highly recommend you start with this book. What sets it apart from other books on the topic of mixing is that it's filled with illustrations that really show how different instruments and sounds can be placed in the acoustic space. And that's something that I've not really seen mentioned anywhere else. Alright, if there ever was a book that was tailor-made for really helping you break through creative blocks, then it's the third book on our list, the one we're going to be talking about now. Now, this book is conveniently split up into 3 sections: Problems of Beginning, Problems of Progressing, and Problems of Finishing. Each section then lists common problems we encounter as musicians, and then attempts to provide creative solutions to power through those problems. Now, I don't think this book is meant to be read cover to cover, even though that's exactly what I did when I first picked it up. But it's extremely useful having it on hand at all times to work through problems that you may encounter on your music production process. Anyway, some of you may already know what book I'm talking about. It's Making Music: 74 Creative Strategies for Electronic Music Producers by Dennis DeSantis. Now, despite what the subtitle of the book suggests, I would say that many of the strategies mentioned in the book can easily be applied outside the domain of electronic music. There's at least a few great insights for musicians of all levels, but it's extremely useful for beginners. Whenever you feel stuck in your production process, either at the beginning or at the end, look through this book and it's bound to help you at least 9 out of 10 times. 8 out of 10 times, whatever. It's a great book. Just check it out. Moving on to the fourth book on our list, and I gotta tell you, you thought you were safe. You thought you could get away with reading a single book on mixing and call it a day. Think again. While I could easily stop this list with a bunch of other books I've read on music mixing, we only have space for one more: Mixing Audio by Roi Izaki. In my most humble opinion, I believe this is the most thorough book you can read on music mixing. I read a bunch of other books that are more popular on the topic, but they don't reach the depth of Rowi's approach in this book. All the key concepts are explained in detail on a technical level, with a lot of practical examples of application and interesting anecdotes interspersed throughout the book to tie it all together. And it also comes with audio files of examples of what's being discussed so that you can actually hear what the author is talking about. The only real issue I have with this book is the fact that it put me to sleep on numerous occasions. It reads more like a university textbook than really a book about art, so there's that. And considering how deep and thorough the book is, I would say it's more geared towards intermediate level producers than true mixing beginners. Okay, the fifth and final book on this list is one that I've just finished reading, and it's probably one that you've never heard about before. But let me know down in the comments if I'm wrong and you've actually read this book. It does tend to get a bit academic, citing different research papers throughout. But once you skim past those, you'll learn a lot about optimal practice routines, managing performance anxiety, finding motivation, and a bunch of other useful stuff that I've not really come across anywhere else. The title of the book is Psychology for Musicians by Andreas Lehmann. This one I highly recommend to musicians of all skill levels, basically, especially if you're looking for ways to keep improving the way you perceive and interact with music throughout your career. If you found this list useful, be sure to smack the like button, and if you're looking to continue improving as a musician, I honestly think you'll benefit greatly from subscribing to my channel. Now, you might be getting ready to order some of these books online, but let me stop you right there. There's nothing I love more than spending the long, dark winters out here in the Serbian woods, letting my imagination get sucked into a great book. But when it comes to non-fiction, I wholeheartedly recommend going digital. Whatever the format it may be, PDF, EPUB, Mobi, Kindle, whatever, I just slap that shit on my phone and the books go where I go. So if I find myself waiting in line, falling down a horrendous doom scroll tunnel, or just looking for a quick minute to kill, I just flip my phone to landscape mode and get to work on honing my musicianship instead. Give that a try and watch this video next.